Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I've turned this packaging from Fabre Nostalgia into some gorgeous cards. But first of all, I'm just showing off the gorgeous nail polish that I purchased. They're a little indie brand based in the UK, and every time she ships my orders, this is my second order, the packaging is just beautiful. So I don't know if you saw my first video where I turned this into 5 cards. In today's video, I'm going to be making 3 cards. There may be a follow-up video, but I didn't want this to be too long. So everything is beautifully wrapped in tissue paper. I had already unwrapped it all, so each bottle came individually wrapped in tissue paper with a string and a little label on it. And then there's a few little cute stickers that are also included in the box. And so these just make great focal points on a card. You do get a little like cuticle tip and a little nail file, and then these were the tags that I'd already took off that were labelling the nail polish that I'd purchased. So that's all the gorgeous packaging. So let's get started with making a card. So for the first card, I've got this piece of tissue paper on some white cardstock, and then I've already gone and die cut a little panel where I've die cut a flower, a Sizzix die flower out the middle, and then I've used a border die along the edge. I've just added some foam tape to the back of that panel, and then I'm just going to stick that down to the patterned tissue paper. That way the tissue paper will show through the flower and also a little strip along the edge. I'm then going to attach that to a 5x7 card, but I'm just going to pop it up on some foam tape. As always, I'll link as many products as I can in the description box below. But once I've popped this on some foam tape, I'm just going to remove the backing tape from that, and then I'm going to attach that down in the centre of the 5x7 card panel. Then just to finish it off, I'm going to use some of the green string that was included in the packaging, and I'm going to pop a sentiment up on some foam tape. This sentiment, it says, "Be a wildflower in a field of roses." It's from a Funky Fossil stamp set, and I'm just going to add some enamel dots to finish. These are also from Funky Fossil Designs. Again, these will be linked as many as possible in the description box below. So that's the first card for today. So here's a little close-up shot of that. Then for the second card, I really want to use the donut sticker and the tag. So first of all, I'm just going to trim off some of the excess white around the donut. And then I'm going to bring in a card blank and, card front panel. And I'm going to use some Salvaged Patina Distress Oxide. And I'm just going to ink up the centre of that card panel. I'm using a blending brush from Funky Fossil Designs, and then I have this stencil called Blossoms, also from Funky Fossil Designs, just to add a little bit of interest. This film strip die and this teacup die were from Funky Fossil Designs as well. I had these die cuts left over in my stash, so I really wanted to try and use them up today. So I've just attached the front to the cup, and I'm just going to add a little bit of foam and attach that to the centre. And then I'm going to pop the donut on a little bit of foam tape as well and attach that to the side of the cup. But before I stick that down, I realised that I really want this film strip to be behind the cup. So I'm just going to add some quick grab glue all over that. I do apologise about the camera angle here. And then I'm just going to attach that down on an angle on the front of my card panel. Then I've got the white centre parts from the film strip die, and I'm going to use the Critters in Cups stamp set from Funky Fossil, and I'm just going to use a couple of the smaller stamps on those white panels. I'm going to use the coffee beans and the tea bag, and that will make sense when I show you which sentiment I choose to add to this card as well. I'm just using Versamark Onyx Black ink, and I'm using my All & Create A7 acrylic block. So once they're all stamped out, I'm just going to add some Cosmic Shimmer quick grab glue to the back of those, and I'm just going to attach those down into the gaps in the film strip die. I love this die, it's so versatile. Of course, it can be used with pictures, stamped images, acetate. There's so many different things that you could do with this die. But I've had this film strip cut out for ages and I've not used it, so this was a great opportunity to use up some of those die cuts. I'm then just popping down that cup and the donut, both of which are on foam tape. And then for a sentiment, not a sentiment, but I'm just going to use the XOXO sentiment stamp on the tag. So it's kind of like a little bit of a tea bag hanging out the cup. For the actual sentiment on my card, I'm going to use the stamp I Love Days When My Only Problem Is Tea or Coffee. hence why I've used the coffee beans and the tea bags. So I've just put that to one side, but before I add that on, I'm just going to attach this tea bag tag to my cup. I'm just going to use a little bit of double-sided tape on this string. I've removed the backing tape, and then I'm just going to use that cuticle tip to stick that down and attach that inside the cup. I'm going to add a little bit of tape on the back of the tag as well, just so that I can hold that in place on the side of the cup. Then I'm going to add my sentiment, and I'm just going to stamp this in Versafine Onyx Black ink. I've had to cut the stamp because it didn't all fit in one long line. But as you've seen me doing videos before, you can easily cut your stamps and you can still use them together. They're easy to line back up. So I'm just going to stamp out each of those sentiments. And yeah, this is just a really fun way of, it's just a really fun card really. And it's just a fun way of using up a few bits that I had in my stash and also using up some of that packaging. So I'm bringing back in that Blossom stencil now. This is a 5x7 card blank, and I'm just going to add a little bit more Salvaged Patina through the Blossom stencil in either corner, diagonal corners on the card front. I'm then going to add some foam tape to the back of the card front panel, and then I'm going to remove the backing tape and attach that down to the centre of the card. I think adding a little bit of stenciling to the corners of a card is a really nice way of kind of bringing it all together. It's also a nice way of using some of those slightly larger card blanks. And then just to finish here, I'm just going to add some white splats to finish with a Posca Pen. So yeah, I really hope that you like the way this card turned out. If you do get any splatters on your black text, I'm just going in with a big biro here, but any kind of black pen is fine, just to go over the sentiment. And then there's the finished card. So for the third card, I really want to use this sticker with the drinks on, and I'm really going for a beach vibe theme here. So I've used the yellow tissue paper, which was stuck to some cardstock, and I'm just kind of cutting with my long bladed Tim Holtz scissors some wavy lines so that it gives it a little bit of depth and dimension, and I'm just really kind of working out where I want that to be on the bottom of the card panel. Once I've decided, I'm just adding some quick grab glue, and I'm just sticking that down to the card front there. So once that's stuck down, I'm then going to trim off the excess from the back using my Tim Holtz scissors so that I get a nice straight line. And then I'm just going to trim down the border around this sticker just so that there's less of a white border. And then once I've trimmed that using my cutter bee scissors, I'm just going to decide where I want it, peel off the back and stick it down because it's a sticker. Next, I'm bringing in this Sunrise stencil from Funky Fossil Designs, and I'm just using the excess Distress Oxide ink on my blending brush. The orange is carved pumpkin and the yellow is mustard seed. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to pick a sentiment from the stamp set. This is from Craftstash. It's the Justine Hovey stamp set. It's part of her new range called It's Called Paper. I've only bought the sentiment stamp because I thought it was really versatile. But I'm just going to use this one called Hello Sunshine, and I'm just trimming it down now with my mini Tim Holtz trimmer. Once I've done that, I'm then going to add it to a layer of the orange tissue paper that came in the packaging, just to keep with those lovely bright bold summer colours. So I'm just going to eyeball this and trim it down so that I've got a nice kind of even border around the sentiment. If I'd have measured, I'm sure this would have been a little bit quicker, but I don't always like to measure. I do tend to measure, but I was just trying to do this by eye, really. So I'm just going to add some quick grab glue here and attach that down to the sentiment. Next, to add a little bit of interest to the black background, I'm just going to add some splatters of picked raspberry Distress Oxide. So I've just put a little bit down there on my acrylic block. I've just grabbed a paintbrush and I'm just going to add some splatters there. Next, I'm bringing in my 5x7 card blank, and I'm going to add some stenciling from corner to corner. This time I'm using Beach Life, and I'm just using some excess Distress Oxide again on my blending brushes. I've used Wilted Violet, Dusty Concord and Picked Raspberry. I did need to ink the Picked Raspberry up a little bit. And I'm just playing around now to see where I want this on the card. I did decide that it gets a little bit lost, so I grabbed some orange cardstock from my stash, and I'm just going to add some glue on the back of that front there and just attach that down so it's got a nice matte layer on the card. It just kind of lifts it off the card front. I'm just going to add some foam tape to the back of that. And I really picked the colours for the stenciling based on the sticker I really liked the fact that the purples and the pinks kind of blended in with the stickers on the front, so it just kind of pulled all the colours together. So once I've removed the backing tape from the foam tape, I'm just going to work out where I want my sentiment. And again, I'm going to pop that up on some foam tape as well, just to give it a little bit more dimension. So once I've attached that down, I'm then going to add a few enamel dots just to finish. And again, these are the ones from Funky Fossil. And then that's our 3 cards for today. So thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. It's like a part 2 in the series of using packaging. I'll link the other video at the end of this video too. And here are a few close-up photos of the cards that we've made today. So thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.